On September the 22nd, 1994, the first ever episode of Friends appeared on our TV screens. It was an immediate hit. The critics raved and audiences everywhere fell in love with their new best friends. Over the last decade, it's grown from a Generation X show into a multi-billion-dollar industry and has made its 6 cast members global superstars.
Here was like the rock stars of sitcoms.
But after a decade, it's now coming to an end.
This is the last series of Friends, and they've stopped filming. But I don't think that's the end of the story.
On tonight's show, we'll reveal how Friends has changed our lives.
The Rachel, the bane of every woman's life in the 90s.
We discover just what happens when you join the A-list.
We try to go out to dinner and there are people chasing us in cars with video cameras.
And we find out just why Matt LeBlanc is such a big girl's blouse.
We're not going home without a goodnight kiss.
Ever since that first day in the Central Perk coffee shop in 1994, everything changed for 6 unknown actors. Suddenly, they were stars.
America just took to it and loved it. And even those of us who were cynical in the beginning just kind of came around.
Me and my girlfriends, we used to make a point of getting together on a Friday night to watch it. There was a reason for us to be friends, to watch Friends.
These were sort of beautiful people who you would not only laugh at, but you would put them on your magazine covers. That didn't happen on Cheers. You know, people liked Norm on Cheers, but no one was going for the haircut.
Dubbed must-see TV in its first season, Friends instantly became our Friday night treat. And the Friends phenomenon was here to stay.
If you imagine you and 5 of your mates and all the things you've done and all the things you've been through over the last 10 years, then that is Friends, the TV show.
People emotionally relate to these characters.
They became my friends.
Friends cleverly tapped into an audience that had previously been ignored by other sitcoms.
In America, it's all about the 18 to 49 demo.
The previous decade had kind of been defined by The Cosby Show, Family Ties, kind of, feel-good family comedies. There was nothing about young, single people.
Uniquely among US sitcoms, Friends concentrated on the young and rejected older authority figures like parents.
One of the things that's great about Friends is that there aren't any old people in there dispensing wisdom.
When Friends showed up on the scene, they bragged that none of their writers was over 30.
Because I think initially the thought was this would be something that all these people in their 20s would watch. But what they found is that it's a time of life that was interesting to everybody.
Matt LeBlanc, Matthew Perry, and David Schwimmer! We were lucky enough to be granted the first world interview outside of America with the 3 guys from Friends. Are you similar to Chandler?
Yes, absolutely. I look a lot like him.
I nearly wet myself. I was so excited.
By the second season, the show was so powerful that Friends began to affect the way we lived. From coffee to conversation.
I think Joey's catchphrase, which he uses on all the girls when he says, "How you doing?" is pretty much a staple that is used around the pubs of town.
Chandler's strange rising inflection in the middle of sentences.
Could this be any stupider?
Could it be more cold out there? That kind of thing. He totally invented that.
In the third year, it was all about that hairdo. Could it have been more popular?
Why am I getting noticed for my haircut and not for my work? The Rachel, the bane of every woman's life in the 90s, and women up and down the country with really thin hair like mine were desperately trying to get like this big kind of layered look.
But apart from selling 1 million bottles of conditioner, Jennifer Aniston and the rest of the cast were also beginning to realise just how much money Friends was generating.
You combine the domestic grosses with the international sales, and it's literally got to be approaching $1.5 billion, $2 billion.
By the time the 4th series came around in 1998, it seemed that everyone was cashing in, except the actors themselves.
They claim that the cast started on about $40,000 each per episode, which actually is about £25,000. It's not that bad.
In a radical move that changed the television industry forever, the the 6 friends banded together and began to act a little unfriendly to the network bosses.
It would have been a disaster for one of them to leave. So they knew that they could come up with this idea where they all stuck together, one for all, and they all made sure they got pay rises together and they all got paid the same amount.
There was this one militant member of cast who was the kind of shop steward and demanded this pay rise, and no one knows who it is because they're all so closely knit that they won't snitch on each other. So to this day, no one knows who that was.
As an ensemble, the 6 of us have a lot more power than one star of the show.
So through the first 5 years, they were making about $100,000 an episode. And then it went from $100,000 to $250,000. Then it went from $250,000 to $750,000, up to where their current salary, which is $1 million an episode.
I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. But was the bond they created simply an opportunity to cash in, or a genuine friendship?
Well, Lisa Kudrow, I think, once said it best when she said, we're not stupid. We realize that in order for the show to be successful, we actually have to become friends.
It's a funny dynamic at work because we go down and we rehearse and we, talk about life and what our relationships are with other people and all that stuff. And then when other people are doing other scenes, we go upstairs and the 6 of us basically do a less funny version of it upstairs.
There's only the 6 of them that understand what they've been through. It's quite a, they've been through the looking glass of contemporary celebrity.
Year by year, the success of Friends grew, as did the awards.
And the winner is Friends.
Uniquely, the 6 stars only agreed to accept them as an ensemble cast. By the late 90s, their growing status and collective bargaining power allowed them to pursue other acting roles.
I think the Friends producers were very sort of agreeable to trying to allow these people to develop movie careers.
We get a lot of time off, so usually you can fit it in. But if not, our producers are really great.
We kind of don't map it out, I guess, but of course, I think we all want to do movies, and we're luckily in a place where, we're given an opportunity to try it.
I played this guy Ross 8 months out of the year, and I love playing him, but I'm also looking to keep growing as an actor and to keep things fresh for myself.
They might have had big mansions and fast cars, but could these TV stars cut it as movie stars? Hollywood waited with bated breath, or did it?
When I go to see movies with Jennifer Aniston or David Schwimmer or Matt LeBlanc, it's kind of like opening the refrigerator and seeing the milk there. Like it's not a big thrill.
Casting agents in Hollywood look at the cast now and think 2 things. I think they probably think, okay, these guys are going to make money, but also, are people going to believe in them when they're not playing their friends' characters?
For a lot of us, watching Band of Brothers was kind of an interesting thing. You were watching it thinking, oh my God, what's Ross doing in the war? This is terrible.
But if you thought that was terrible, Matt LeBlanc shocked everyone with his big screen debut. He was acted off the screen by his monkey co-star.
I love you too, buddy.
Ed was a stinker.
Every time the Friends cast started negotiating for more money, you would flash a picture of Ed and say, if you think you have great career options, maybe you should watch this movie over again.
Even more scary than a midget in a monkey suit is starring opposite Liz Hurley, a mistake made by Matthew Perry in Serving Sarah.
Sarah Moore, you are hereby served for divorce.
Divorce? What?
Smile.
It's probably best to forget about that. Don't be in movies with Liz Hurley. That's always a mistake.
The difficult part about doing it on the big screen is you don't have the immediate gratification. There's no audience there to really laugh. If you're making the director and the producers laugh, they have kind of a vested interest, so you never know whether they're really laughing or not.
The sad truth is the actual dialogue of the quality that you get in a really good Friends episode is very difficult to find, and that's why a lot of the movies that kind of Matthew Perry's been in haven't been as good as your average episode of Friends.
The Friends realised they couldn't rely on their TV characters forever and had to break the mould. David Schwimmer made a brave attempt in cult Nazi thriller Apt Pupil.
A brilliantly dark film with Ian McKellen, in which he turns up right at the end
and trying to say, "Oh, I'm not Ross," opens the door, and there's David Schwimmer with a moustache.
Hello, Todd.
What are you doing here?
I came by to see your parents. Are they home?
And the most hideous kind of caterpillar landed out of a tree or something and fixed itself to his top lip.
Most of the people I assume that are going to be coming to the movie know me from Friends, so it's going to be difficult for people to divorce themselves from that character and that image of me.
Matt LeBlanc may have left the ape behind, but still ended up making a monkey of himself recently with his transvestite war movie, All the Queen's Men.
Lass mal gut sein, Schmidtchen. Das ist eine deutsche Frau.
They are so rich that they should just do whatever movie strikes their fans. If you want to be in a movie with a chimpanzee, if you want to be in a drag movie with a chimpanzee and red shoes and lesbian sex, then you should do that.
Success came at last in 1996 when Courtney Cox threw aside her Monica persona to appear as a hard-bitten hack in a new hip horror movie, Scream.
She was almost being sort of self-parodic, taking that character that we've come to know and love from Friends and just give her a little twist.
Some night, what happened? Are you all right? She's not answering any questions, all right? Just leave us alone. No, Tatum, it's okay. She's just doing her job, right, Kim? Yes, that's right. So, how's the book? Well, it'll be out later this year. Oh, I'll look for it. I'll send you a copy.
It was a knockout at the box office, and Courtney was hailed as the only friend to be a genuine movie star.
Just someone really different from the character I play on Friends, and she's a little bit of a witch.
But critical acclaim wasn't the only thing she picked up from the role. She also landed a boyfriend, co-star David Arquette.
Let there be you. Let there.
I think we kind of had this infatuation at the beginning, and neither one of us were ready to be in a relationship, so it was really that unbelievably great dynamic that you have with someone, and now it's just true love.
By season 5 of Friends, love triumphed. Miss Cox said "I do" and became Mrs. Arquette.
When people say, "What's changed since you got married?" and this would apply to working together, it's, I don't have to worry about that part of my life.
Let there be love.
It's just so comfortable, and I know that I'm safe with him, so I can be more neurotic or worried about the rest of my life, which is my career.
After the break, we discover how it was to be a different friend and her movie star boyfriend, who was to really capture the public's imagination.
This is weird.
I know.
Just mean there's nothing to eat?
After 10 years of unmissable television, find out how it all ends.
It's just the perfect way to say goodbye.
It's the last ever Friends, followed by brand new Big Brother, Friday on 4.
After 6 years, Friends had become the biggest comedy in the world and had turned its 6 stars into household names. But by the start of season 7, one of its cast was to dramatically rise above the rest to become part of Hollywood royalty.
As the show evolved, I think it sort of, Jennifer Aniston became sort of the big star of the show. She became the most recognizable face of the 6 Friends.
Jennifer's face has become so well known that Forbes magazine recently listed her as the world's #1 celebrity.
The reason that Jennifer Aniston is so far above her other castmates, and really why she's at #1 period, are the number of magazine covers she showed up on. If you're trying to sell a magazine and you're trying to reach out to a broad swath of the American public, apparently she's going to sell a magazine for you, and that sort of speaks to the idea that people find her accessible, people want to know more about her.
If you were to compare Aniston with Courtney Cox, her face is very beautiful, but it is slightly hard, and she's not as approachable and as friendly looking as Jennifer Aniston is.
But Jennifer's life was about to step up yet another gear. Unbeknown to her, she had a secret Hollywood admirer, Brad Pitt. In true Hollywood style, his people contacted her people, and a date was arranged by their agents.
It's so hard for a celebrity to date and find someone, because your pool is so small, because there are so few celebrities.
I remember the day that the first picture of Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt sort of popped up in our office. Everyone was like, oh my God, Rachel from Friends is going out with Brad Pitt.
But surprisingly enough, it was Brad who was shy about approaching the humble girl next door.
I know that Brad was a real fan of Friends before he and Jennifer got together, you know, and there's something funny about Brad that he was a little bit starstruck by that cast when he first started going down there. I remember there being a certain amount of apprehension among some of the cast because of the fact that Brad was such a huge movie star. I mean, how was he going to be influential on her decisions?
But Brad had stolen her heart, and the romance began in earnest.
I mean, you kind of want them to be sort of, you know, Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, and they're completely not. They're very low-key. They eat at cheap Mexican restaurants in this town. They always look kind of grungy, and they don't ever look like you would expect them to look.
In July 2000, Brad and Jen tied the knot, with Brad designing the wedding rings himself. Not only was it the most famous wedding of the year, it was also one of the most secretive.
Normally somebody like Brad Pitt would marry somebody like Gwyneth Paltrow and then they'd get divorced. And then he'd marry somebody else like Gwyneth Paltrow. God forbid that there should be somebody else like Gwyneth Paltrow.
The vows were made under a lavish marquee away from the hungry media. But what would marrying Hollywood's hottest star do for her career?
Well, Mrs. Brad Pitt, you know, for Jennifer Aniston is obviously going to make her a much more kind of bankable star in the same way that, you know, Posh and Bex are far bigger stars in combination than separately.
Jennifer now had Hollywood at her feet.
She already has the most popular hit of any of the 6 Friends, and that was Bruce Almighty, last year's Jim Carrey film.
I mean, I know, I woke up this morning and I felt like my boobs were bigger. I mean, do they look bigger to you?
What? No, bigger.
Oh, come on! Look at them!
I think what everybody's waiting for is for her and Brad Pitt to do a movie together. I think, yeah, that maybe they say it was cashing in, but look, why not?
So with a little help from Brad, Jen looks like she'll have a successful film career in her life after Friends. But what of the others? How will they fill their time now the show is finally coming to an end? Courtney Cox has already sorted out her next gig.
I was just on the set last week, and she told me that she also was very happy behind the scenes.
It's showtime.
Courtney's new TV role sees her as America's answer to Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen with a hip home makeover show.
It's fantabulous.
Right now, Courtney Cox and her husband, David Arquette, are producing a show on women's entertainment called Mix It Up. Basically what the show is about, they have designers come into the house and they work with the couple to blend the two styles.
They're executive producing. They are constantly there. They are constantly available. They're constantly tweaking and shaping and bending and just making sure that it is their show, because it came from their relationship.
Courtney's next project is due in 9 months' time as she's expecting her first child, which no doubt will have 5 godparents. Lisa Kudrow, meanwhile, is already a mum and now has the profile and the money to experiment as an actor.
I think Lisa Kudrow is less interested in being a celebrity, and probably she will have one of the best careers at the end of the series of Friends, because she seems to be more concerned with being a character actress.
Sure, if I'm going to do something when I'm not doing Friends, I'd like to do something different.
I think she'll have the easiest transition if she doesn't just jump on everything that comes her way. And she's already been very smart about that.
She is this wonderful addition to things and in an ensemble. And that's not to be, you know, the supporting role is not to be underestimated.
Lisa has recently impressed the industry playing the wife of legendary porn star John Holmes.
No, John, no, I am not going into the witness protection program with you. That's that.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Sharon, this is the new start. No, listen. This is the new start. We're starting.
Listen.
Sharon, everything that we planned could happen now, okay?
I don't want a fresh start with you, John. Wake up.
Oh, listen.
Okay? No, you listen. I am through supporting you. What do you think, I would just leave and never see my family again?
Sharon.
You've gone too far
No,
this
hang on a
time,
second.
pal.
If you don't help me with this, I am dead.
You're already dead.
She's going for something out there, going for something indie, going for something offbeat. And I think that's really good. I think that's really impressive of her to do something completely removed from this big mainstream TV show.
And what of Matthew Perry? Will he always be playing the lovable Joker?
He needs a good script. He needs a Groundhog. You know, Bill Murray made a lot of tough, terrible movies before he made Groundhog Day. He needs something like that.
Matt's recently branched out, trying his hand as a serious actor on The West Wing, which even saw him nominated for an Emmy. David Schwimmer's new career, meanwhile, looks set to see him out of the spotlight, which might come as a relief.
It bothers me at times that we're in the tabloids, or that we try to go out to dinner and there are people chasing us in cars with video cameras.
When their contract negotiations became so public that we all kind of exactly knew how much they made, it bothered David.
Shying away from the media attention, he intends to work on the other side of the cameras.
David Schwimmer has directed a lot of episodes of Friends, and he has made it known that he really wants to get more involved in the behind-the-scenes process.
Ron Howard famously was just supporting character in Happy Days and is now an Oscar-winning director.
I think actors make great directors. You know, an actor has to know the beats of a scene, has to know what the scene is about. But, I mean, who has more experience of sitcoms than David Schwimmer?
So after 10 hit seasons and 236 episodes, the multi-billion-dollar bandwagon is coming to a halt. And telebosses are desperately trying to fill the gap in the TV schedule.
It's been the cornerstone of their strongest night, Thursday night, for 10 years now, and that's going to be a big loss.
All kinds of different shows have come and gone in the slot after Friends that were intended to take over Friends' position, and it's just never worked.
So they've turned to Matt LeBlanc to try and keep the Friends dream alive with his own spin-off series called Joey.
He appeals to everyone. Girls love Joey, guys love Joey.
Since he's an actor, he can go to LA and get mixed up with a whole new bunch of kooky friends.
Set in Hollywood, the show follows Joey Tribbiani as he tries to pursue his acting career without his friends. Although real-life buddy David Schwimmer is set to direct some episodes.
I think in the beginning, and this comes from the producers as well, he was more of a two-dimensional character. So they sort of opened it up a little more and made him a little more sensitive.
Of all of them, we haven't seen that much of this guy, and let's see what this character has in him.
But Matt's being a bit tight-lipped about the whole project until the Friends' final curtain call.
It's very exciting, but it's kind of surreal and weird without closure on Friends to really discuss that and like get excited about that. So it's almost like an inappropriate feeling I have to talk about it before Friends is over.
With the last episode recorded on the 23rd of January 2004, Friends is now over. But what will happen to our favourite characters?
Rachel and Ross are going to have to get married. I'm going to miss Jennifer Aniston's sense of style, and obviously the whole kind of, will she, won't she with Ross. Chandler and Monica are going to grow old together.
The skinny Monica is going to go back to being comfortable fat Monica again.
And Joey has his own sitcom.
For the 20-somethings who became 30-somethings, it's time to wave goodbye to the show that made them superstars. But the real question is, how will we survive life without our 6 busy mates?
In a way, Friends might be the last gasp of the sitcom. It might be the last time it works on that multi-generational, global level.
I think I'll miss the feel-good factor.
I hope that they all remain friends, because wouldn't it be lovely? It would be really nice if they do, but I don't know. I hope so.